Conservation agriculture is a farming system that conserves, improves, and makes more efficient use of natural resources through integrated management of water, soil, plants, or crops. The three fundamental principles of conservation agriculture are minimum soil disturbance, permanent soil cover, and crop rotation. Each of the principles can serve as an entry point to conservation agriculture. However, only the simultaneous application of all three principles results in full benefits. Conservation agriculture covers a wide range of agricultural practices based on no-till or reduced tillage. These require direct planting of crop seeds into cover crops or mulch. Weeds are suppressed by mulch and/or cover crops and need to be further controlled either mechanically, removed by hand, or through herbicide application.
My name is Henry Mwiti, and I am a small-scale farmer who have got a land situated in Laikipia County, which is just adjacent to the foots of Mount Kenya. Actually, the main challenge that I normally encounter when doing farming in this area is in the manner in which the lanes are distributed over the year. Maybe you can experience 2 or 3 weeks of very heavy rains, and maybe you go for 2 or 3 months of dry spell. So you realize that by the time the rain comes back again, the crop might have died out, such that you end up having a total crop failure in that particular year. And that's why I decided to enter into conservation agriculture, which is more friendly to that kind of environment, whereby you are able to conserve enough moisture in the soil until when the next rains will come back. And by so doing, you are assured of at least having something to harvest at the end of the season. Maybe just to show you the difference between convention and conservation, the practice here is convention. You can see the quality of the maize, the size, and the expected yield can automatically be seen from the size of the maize. Maybe 1.5 foot. You can see the color is not very dark green. This color shows that there is no enough nutrients in the soil. Also, the soil is barely exposed to the sunlight. That's leading to moisture losing very fast. And that's why you can see the compaction on conventional farming, whereby the water loss is very high and water infiltration is very little. To compare, you can now have a view at this plot under conservation agriculture. You can see the quality of the maize and automatically the expected outcome of the yield. These are same variety planted at the same time, and it's just a meter that is bordering the two plots. All this difference that you can see is as a result of operation. You may think you are in a forest, but just realize that you are in a maize field that is under conservation agriculture, whereby I, being a tall guy, I can hardly reach the cob. Now, I just want to demonstrate to you on how a beginner can start changing from conventional to conservation agriculture. We are assuming now in the plot behind me, it is a bare plot where you have harvested your previous crop, and now in this season, you want to start practicing conservation, bearing in mind that we don't need to disturb the soil very much. Remember, I have talked there earlier about 3 principles of conservation. That is minimum soil disturbance, soil cover, and crop rotation and its association. Now here we are beginning with rad preparation. The first step is that you can see there is some weed growing, and you need to suppress that weed. Instead of now using the plow, we use the herbicide that will suppress all the already growing weed. After applying the chemical, you have to wait for 1 week so that all the weed can die. Now you come with your animals and you start reaping or subsoiling your land. In this operation, you can use 2 different types of equipment. One is the reaper, where the soils are not very much compacted. So it's a special equipment that is attached to a victory plow. They have got a broad tine which is made from high carbon steel to avoid it from breaking or bedding. If there is a lot of compaction, then you have to attach the subsoiler to your frame so that you acquire the required depth. You just need to use the subsoiler in the first year and probably maybe in the following second year. And the advantage of this equipment is that they only open the line, they will expose no soil on top of the surface. It is very important when opening those lines, put in mind the recommended spacing of that particular crop that you are going to plant. After reaping my plots, I come with manure to have fertility and also to improve the soil structure, especially when introducing it the first season to conservation agriculture. After finishing the manure application is when I come up with my planter and I start planting the field. It is a well-designed equipment that is meant for planting and applying fertilizer at the same time. By using this equipment, you can plant different seeds of different sizes from lab, beans, maize. The seed falls just after the fertilizer falls to the fallow. So you just need to put them in the seeding chamber. And now you have to come up with the fertilizer. You need to use artificial fertilizer for a new plot where you are starting conservation in the first place. Immediately after reaping and probably before the onset of the rain, you should come with your planter. You can follow those lines which have already been reaped. Dry planting is very advantageous because during the very wet season, especially with the black cotton soil, then you can experience a lot of blockage. The tubes of the fertilizer and the tube of the seeds can be blocked very easily. With the dry planting, you are able to work a bigger area. And remember, if you come with the animals during the wet season, then you are compacting your rod. After a 4-year time with the conservation agriculture, you don't need to do any reaping anymore. You don't need to apply a lot of herbicide because most of the weed will have been suppressed by the mulch. It's just a matter of planting direct using your direct animal drone planter. When the land is not very much mulched, you can use the wheel. But when there is a lot of mulch, you need to change and put a coulter. If you can get enough mulching material that you can apply or cover your rod with, then that mulching material will suppress the already growing weed. And by so doing, you will have avoided the cost of chemical. And also remember, the chemical is not very friendly to human and also to the environment. But if you cannot get enough mulching material, that's now the last option is using chemical. Mulching adds more advantages to your plot by encouraging the existence of microorganisms. So if you can get mulching material, it is the best. When you compare conservation agriculture with conventional agriculture, the cost of production is reduced drastically. When producing 1 acre of maize using conventional, you have to spend 27,900. And when doing conservation agriculture, you only use 11,400. The main difference is noticed, especially during the land preparation. When you're doing conventional, you have to plow the land. You can hardly plow more than 1 acre a day. But reaping or soil sailing, you can do 4 acres a day. And also weeding. People here who are doing conventional, they weed 3 times in a season, and it is very costly because it has to be done manually. Some of the challenges that normally affect the smooth running of conservation agriculture is the weed management. If you fail in managing weed properly, you may end up getting no crop at all. In this case here now, you may hardly believe that there was a crop for maize here. You may only think that this farmer planted blackjack, but that is not the incidence. They didn't do herbicide application timely. Even though mulching material acts as a breeding places for the pests and some of the diseases, there is a way you can move out of that problem. And it is simply by practicing crop rotation, because you'll find different crops are invaded by different pests or diseases. I take conservation agriculture as a journey. You have to have a lot of patience. You cannot realize full benefits of conservation agriculture in 1 or 2 seasons. As you proceed to the 2nd year, to the 3rd year, to the 4th year, the yields will be going upward and inputs will be going downward. So you'll be minimizing the cost while increasing the yield. Once it is fully established, it will be just a matter of maintaining it. There was a time when we could not even be assured of what we shall eat in the evening. So it was from hand to mouth kind of life. But now we can see a bright future, and everybody in the family is happy about it.
Conservation agriculture has good potential to spread to dry environments due to its ability to save water, though the major challenge here is to grow sufficient vegetation to provide soil cover and mulching material. Conservation agriculture has been proven to work in a variety of agroecological zones and farming systems, such as high or low rainfall areas, degraded soils, multiple cropping systems, and systems with labor shortages. Increased and reliable crop yields and reduced labor input are the main direct benefits of conservation agriculture, improving households' food security and resilience to a variable climate.